views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
Hello, welcome to the last edition for 2020 of Let's Talk Sports with Rick and Jack. My friend Jack, how are you?
Wonderful, sir. So, been a different year, but I can't complain.
No, we're blessed. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's been great to do this show with you. That's one of my joys of 2020 is to have this opportunity to do the show not only with a great friend, but a great sports analyst. And I thank you for everything you've done for us in 2020 on our last show. And it was your thought we wear blazers for the last show. It doesn't make us look any better. Maybe him, not me. We're in full attire. No, we didn't decided not to wear the shirts and ties, but we put a blazer on. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. Happy New Year. This is our last show of 2020 for Let's Talk Sports with Rick and Jack. It's been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of discussions and interesting subjects. It's been a lot of fun, and I want to thank you for being viewers. And we were just talking about that. Our viewership is really going up, and we want to say thank you. We want to thank our followers. We want to thank you for liking our shows. We want to thank you for subscribing to WWTV. And we just overall want to thank you and hope you've had a good year, and 2020 gets a lot better for all of us. It's been very painful in a lot of ways, but one of the reliefs is sports, and we love sports. We love you following our show. And again, thanks. Continue to like us and follow us. And on we go to our last show. What's going on? What are we going to talk about today? There's so many things to talk about.
So many things right now. It's basketball is on its way. It's on its way right now. College football is on its way out. It's basically championship. The next couple of days, it's going to be phenomenal football, phenomenal bowl games.
Yeah.
And then next month hockey. But I was
a lot of sports.
But
we're grateful. Thank you.
Absolutely. But what I want to do real quick before we get into the futures, kind of like touch on a few things that happened throughout the year, this year, that affected sports and how it impacted. And the first thing that came to mind, was NBA legend Kobe Bryant.
Wow, what a blow!
It's the impact that he had on the sports world, NBA, and he was one of the things that got really impacted with it was female basketball, because he was a big advocate of pushing the WNBA into making it bigger than it is, and it was such a big blow, not only to his family but to the entire sports world. So, just wanted to mention that.
No, that's a big one. It's God bless the Bryant family, Vanessa and her other children, and we're sorry for the loss of Kobe and his daughter and the other seven people that were involved in that crash. It was mind-blowing. I mean, the reaction from the sports world was incredible. And to talk about it briefly, I was a guy who was a big Kobe fan because I was fortunate enough living in LA during that era. I had my own private box at Staples Center. And I was at all their games. I was at all those championships, those 3 championships he had with Shaq and that whole group and Gasol. And I was fortunate to see all those games. And I was fortunate to see that heart and that drive. And, it was like, I was always honored to follow that guy because though he wasn't liked in a lot of circles because he was so competitive, hardest working basketball player I've ever seen. And there's been a lot, Michael Jordan and many, many more. But I was honored to go to Staples night after night for many years and sit there and watch him. So we miss him, we love him, and we thank him for what he did.
Absolutely.
For the sports world, it's improved it. In the world overall, my heart goes out to his family, particularly to Vanessa. And that's pretty much it for that.
Yeah.
What a loss. To me, after that, what's important in the rest of the year? Who wins, loses? I don't really care. A life was lost of a great individual who was doing a lot of inspiring things. A lot. Like you said, he inspired those ladies in the WNBA to be better, to step up, to really promote Black Lives Matter and equality. So he did a great job for them, but he did a great job for all of us. I know you got something out of it and had some great memories of his years.
Yeah, in fact, during that time, that's when I was actually stationed in Camp Pendleton, so we used to go to the Staples Center.
What a joy.
So he'll be missed.
God bless you, Bryant family. Next up, what else? What else you saw that was? Everything after that is not very impactful, but what else happened this year?
It was cool to see 2 championships in LA.
Yeah, they deserved it.
Finally for the Dodgers, because over the years they've been that team that looked great on paper, but couldn't finish it in postseason. And to see them actually going over that hump, to see the Lakers back into, the limelight and in the winning ways of the past, that was awesome to see.
The bubble championship. Yeah. Which was a tough thing to play.
Absolutely, because that mental toughness that you have to have there without your family, and it's a different routine. You don't have the same bed,
same food every day, same stadium, same pool you go to, same bed, same locker room. It never changed. And a lot of those teams, as you saw, like Milwaukee and Houston, and some of these other teams, Boston, they didn't wrap their minds around it like the Lakers did. So kudos to the Lakers. They had a great team. LeBron, great leader. Anthony Davis, great leader. I'm happy for them. And on the subject of the Dodgers, I mean, Mookie Betts was the difference maker. Finally got him over the hump to win the championship. Walker Buehler, great pitcher. Those 2 guys got him over the hump. And I'm happy for the Dodgers. They played well, and again, in a bubble situation, and playoffs in the bubble. And it was a nice win for the Dodgers. And Dodgers and Lakers will have their parade. I guess they're going to have a parade together eventually, but they haven't been fully blessed and honored by the public, but they will be. And congratulations to them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's at the end of the season, there can only be one champion, and they did it. So you got to give them kudos, despite whatever situation they're in. All the other teams had the same ability to be the last one, and they were. So congrats.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. There were some great games. And Tampa ended up having a good year, but just not good enough.
And one of the other things that stood out for me was Naomi Osaka.
Yeah, Osaka?
Yeah,
what a great young lady.
Absolutely.
Great person.
Other than her being an athlete, I love her personality and the things that she does off the on and off the court. Amazing. And AP actually named her the female athlete of the year, and well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Winning that U.S. Open was fantastic, but she took the Open as an opportunity to give reverence to a lot of people that deserved it. The George Floyd situation and so many others, and she really stepped up and was an advocate for Black Lives Matter throughout that tournament. And after every win, she talked about it, and she was really, really a great example of how we all should be acting and working together as human beings to enjoy each other.
Absolutely.
And let's throw race out of it. We know that'll never happen, but it was really a great offering by her. Other than winning that tournament, she had so many positive things to say about the future of this world and the future of our various races, and it was awesome. And congratulations to her for winning that Athlete of the Year.
So that's just a few things that I saw happen throughout the year that I wanted to highlight before we move on. And anything else for
a couple other things. I mean, you made some notes here, and we talked about at our production meeting yesterday. We could talk all day about COVID in sports and what happened. Everybody knows what happened, and we're all mindful of it. Playing in the bubble, sports being shut down in March because of what happened in that Utah basketball game, and all sports followed the NBA and shut down. That was tough. That was tough on people's psyche who love sports.
And financially for all the leagues.
Financially. I was just thinking about that this morning. You think about all these great bowl games that are being played with no audience at the games, or very little. Limited people at the various bowl games. The money that's being lost of the hotels, the pregame parties, the after parties, the game itself, the concessionaires. A lot of money has been lost in COVID in all sports, and we thank the athletes for, keeping us all happy about it, because once sports started up again, life got better. Without sports, it was crazy. I found other things to do.
Well, it's not as like life got better. It was like no matter like what you're going through at this moment, sports gave me an opportunity to take it off my mind, stress reliever, just for maybe 5 hours on a Sunday, watching football or watching NBA, watching hockey. It just gave me whatever's going on right now. it gave me a break.
Yeah, it did. And you know what the biggest surprise to me was through the whole COVID situation, sports starting up again, was I didn't believe the NFL would ever make it through a 16-game schedule. I was like, these guys are not going to make it. With that many players, that much staff, it's so many moving parts on a football team, an NFL football team. I said, they'll never make it. Of course, they didn't have a preseason. That was smart. In the beginning of the year, a lot of teams were very slow. But they didn't miss a game. They played all 16 weeks. No games were canceled. They started on time. They're going to have playoffs. Teams got better and better and better and more efficient about staying away from the COVID by staying in, unlike Dwayne Haskins in Washington, who, out partying after a game he lost, and he got released. That was fantastic, by the way, just a sidebar. I'm glad they got rid of that guy. He is no leader.
No.
And I mean, you're not being reverent to your fellow ball players and respectful.
I understand it was his girlfriend's birthday, but you also
you also celebrated at home, bro.
Exactly. Well, you have 100 and I want to say they said it was like 153 other people on your team that you have to worry about, and that includes support staff and,
it's a big staff
stuff.
in football.
So your actions affect your entire team. Look at Cleveland.
Very selfish.
Cleveland didn't play their wide receivers this week because they were in COVID protocol.
Yeah, quarantine.
So what did they do? And they end up losing a game that could have helped them clinch.
Well, it would have cinched a playoff spot. Now they got to win, and you're in.
And they need help.
But that was the biggest surprise to me this year was we've had NFL with no big hiccups. Some games have been on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and 2 or 3 on a Monday, but they got through it, and kudos to the NFL for making it happen.
And
because all us gamblers that love the NFL.
And they didn't stick to any one, like if you don't play you forfeit. No, what they were doing, they were able to be flexible.
Yeah, they were very flexible, as opposed to college football. I mean, what a joke. I mean, to me, college football this year has been, that's another story. And all those canceled games, the Pac-12 starting late in November, the Big Ten starting late, all the, problems and drama about what's happened with Ohio State. And, Dabo Swinney came out, and man, he had a real passionate idea of what happened. And he made a good point when he said, listen, all these teams that have played 13 games, you don't understand the sacrifices we have had to make, the protocols we have had to follow, the diligent testing we had to do for 13 games. Somebody that played 6 games that's going to end up playing 8 games if they win it all.
So they're not beat up.
But they haven't had to be so strict with the protocol, and still Ohio State had problems within their program. So he made a great point, and I was like, I didn't believe it last week. On last week's show, I said Ohio State absolutely deserves to be there. But after I heard Swinney talk, I was like, wow, he makes a lot of sense. And it was more about, I was talking more about talent than about the ability to stay safe.
The mental aspect of it.
For young kids, 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Because look at Lawrence. Because of the 2 weeks that he was out because of COVID, he probably won't win the Heisman.
Yeah, it may have cost him. That's another thing. That's going to be an interesting show. But we're going to take a little break here. There's so much to talk about this week, and we haven't even gotten into NFL yet. Watch our NFL show. That's going to be also airing soon. We're going to take a break, pay a few bills, and we'll be right back at you with some more information about what we enjoyed in sports in 2020. And again, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking us. We'll be back in a moment.
Bob Allen Golf has a full tour shop for all of your repairs, including re-gripping, reshafting, loft and lie adjustments, whatever you need. Bob has the only full swing simulator in Las Vegas. Get your next set of golf clubs custom fit right here at Bob Allen Golf, located at 6415 South Fort Apache, Las Vegas, 89148. With Bob Allen Golf, your game is in the bag.
Thank you. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us through the commercial break. We appreciate that. It's, as we said, a lot going on here to end the year. Again, Happy New Year. What do you think about who's going to win the Heisman here? I mean, we got the big 4 that we predicted, but, anybody could have predicted that. We weren't any geniuses, but, you got your 4. What do you think is going to happen with the Heisman? It's going to be close, probably closer than ever.
I think so too. What surprised me is not necessarily surprised me, but because of he missed the 2 games. Lawrence I thought he was for sure it was his to lose, but I think him not being in those 2 games affected him, where they didn't even put him in the first team.
Yeah, third team All-American.
So how are you gonna, if you're
something.
third team All-American, how are you the Heisman's supposed to be the best player in football?
Yeah.
In college football.
Great point.
So do you think maybe Jones or Smith, or maybe Smith can come in and take it? Is this the year the wide receiver is going to win the Heisman?
Yeah, and it's been a long time, and gosh, they never win it. That kid is unbelievable. He's a difference maker. He's a game changer. But you really got to look at the quarterbacks. I think Trask had an amazing year in Florida. That's a good football team that a little bit undisciplined at times. That has hurt them. A little bit weak on defense at times, but a very, very good football team. They gave Alabama everything they wanted in this game last week. That was a great game, by the way. I hope you all watched it. And Alabama looks unbeatable. But for the Heisman, to me, the way they played, the way they won, I think Mac Jones deserves the award. I think Trask is second. Again, Trevor Lawrence may still win it. He is very, very talented, and he got a lot of votes in that game. Believe me, against Notre Dame, he picked up a lot of votes. He looked unbelievable. Clemson looked unbelievable.
So then, how come he didn't pick up any votes in the first team?
Yeah, that's really and that's puzzling to me. And we talked about that in our production meeting. That you realize that Lawrence was third team All-American, and I was like, wow. That's crazy. That's definitely going to have an impact on the Heisman. And I said on last week's show that Lawrence was going to win it. Now I'm waffling. Now I'm waffling because how do you get third team All-American and win it and win the Heisman?
And most of those same people are the ones that are voting for the Heisman, are voting, for that too. So it's like maybe they saw something that I didn't see. I for sure thought he was.
Yeah.
Because
it's a tough vote. I'd love Smith. I'd love to see Smith get it because all 4 of those guys are deserving, by the way.
Absolutely.
And Najee Harris, who was number 5, is deserving. Ian Book is deserving, but it's such a weird year, and not as many games. Fields dropped out of it. I mean, I didn't think Fields had that many good games.
And I want to point out something in our show when we were predicting who's going to be nominated. We actually got the first 5.
Yeah, we were right. That was fun. It was fun to see it, and we actually had them. Of course, the final 4 they only had in alphabetical order. They can't tell you how they came 1 through 4, but the 5th we knew we had it.
Yes.
Najee Harris, and he's a beast. He deserves the trophy. All 5 of them deserve the trophy. So I'm just going to have fun watching the show. I'll just go out on a limb, and I'm going to say.
I like the long shot.
Mac Jones.
I'm going to go Smith.
Okay.
Hopefully they don't steal any votes from each other because they're both on the same team,
Yeah.
or maybe all 3.
I think we're seeing it with our heart instead of our mind, but that's okay. Who do you think's going to win it? Again, tell us what you think. Tell us the vote is just about to happen. The vote's already happened. The result is about to happen this weekend. So we'll see, but we'll talk about it on next week's show. But the Heisman's fun. Talking about Heisman and college football, we got some really great games coming up. Yes. Let's give out a couple of quick bowl games and end this show for the year on a high note and give some winners out on college football. We have our NFL show where we always give out a lot of winners, a lot more winners than losers. Believe me, you follow the show. If you do, keep watching it. We thank you for liking this show, but let's give our viewers and our friends and the faithful people to our show some bowl games. Just a few relevant ones. I think today's a couple of good games. Oklahoma State, Miami of Florida, Oklahoma State 1.5. What do you think?
I actually like Oklahoma State in that game. I think actually the 1.5, that's a bit conservative, but I'm going for the winner. I think they'll win by at least a touchdown.
I agree with you. I think Miami's way overrated. I don't think they have played that many great games, and I don't think they're a great football team. I really don't. I see their quarterbacks coming back. he's going to stay for a second year because everybody did. Isn't that interesting that everybody is able to retain a year of eligibility next year? So some kids are going to be in that program for 6 years.
Well, I'm glad they were able to do that.
Yeah, it's fair.
That's the one thing that
It's fair.
the NCAA actually did that I saw made sense, was to be flexible in that with these kids maintaining their eligibility.
Yeah, and you know who's going to benefit from that is the NFL. Because
Absolutely.
these kids that are going to get 5 and 6 years, they just get bigger, stronger, faster, better.
Yes, because they're
Better in the
grown.
mind. So
Absolutely.
that's interesting. Another game tonight, which is a good game. Texas over Colorado. Favored by 13 points. The Alamo Bowl.
It's a good.
Texas?
I go Texas on that.
You going to give 13?
I think that's a little bit too much though, but I think I think they're going to win, but I think 13's a lot.
Texas wins easily by 13 or more. I agree with you. Next we got the Mayo Bowl, Bank of America Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina. Wisconsin versus Wake Forest. Wisconsin favored by 6.5. That's on Wednesday.
I like Wisconsin.
I'll go with you. Next game up, this is a great game on Wednesday, the Cotton Bowl.
And I think this is probably going to be the best bowl of the season.
This is going to be, I agree with you, this is going to be a good bowl game. Oklahoma, Florida in the Cotton Bowl. Florida favored by 2.5. What do you like?
My gut is telling me to go with Florida, but yeah, I am going to go with Florida. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to
put
say
you down for Florida.
the way they
Trask is going to be tough to stop.
yeah.
Trask is going to be tough to stop. And that Oklahoma's chance in this game is to run the football. If you can run the football and run the clock, you're going to keep the ball out of Trask's hand. Can Oklahoma do that? Because if you put the ball in Trask's hand,
He's gonna
he's
score.
gonna
He's gonna move down the
score, and
field.
he's going to score. And
Yeah.
I think that's a good play by you, but I believe that Oklahoma defensive line is going to overpower that Florida offensive line and is going to give Trask fits back there. And I think it's going to be a tough game for Florida. I'll take the 2.5 in Oklahoma, and I actually think Oklahoma is one of the top 3 or 4 teams this year. They really improved. They have 2 losses early. But again, I've been touting them lately, so let's see if I'm right. You got Florida, I got Oklahoma.
Yep.
Who do you have? Great game. Don't miss it. Tomorrow evening, Wednesday, Cotton Bowl. Next up, couple more. Not a lot more. Let me see. Some of these games really don't have a lot of relevance. We're not going to go through them all.
What about Cincinnati and
Georgia.
Georgia? Is this going to be a redemption game for Georgia?
Well, Georgia's played very well at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You know,
But
they changed quarterbacks, and that's been a big difference. Cincinnati, you know, just ask Joey Galloway on ESPN. He'll tell you Cincinnati's a top 4 team or one of the best in the country. We're going to find out how correct you are, Joey.
And
because I'm absolutely going to go with Georgia to beat Cincinnati.
I'm going to go with Georgia too.
Yeah, and we'll give you that 6.5 points.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can say in your face, bah. So it'll be fun. But I don't think Cincinnati's going to beat Georgia. I know you do, Joey. God bless. Auburn Northwestern, another good game.
I like Northwestern in this one.
3.5 points. The Citrus Bowl. I agree with you. That's on Friday. That's going to be a Friday game. So that'll be fun. You know, those are 2 good Friday games, really. Georgia, Cincinnati, Northwestern, and Auburn. Those are 2 good games. And then also on Friday, you got the big games. Those are the early games. You got Alabama, Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama, 19.5 points, 20 points. Got to beat them by 20. You got to beat Notre Dame by 20 points.
Okay. I would take, for the points, I would take Notre Dame for the points. I don't think Alabama's going to beat them by damn near 3 touchdowns almost.
Notre Dame has a lot to prove. They really were disrespected the way they played against Clemson. A lot of people said, wow, that is not a step-up team. And if you look at their record in big games and bowl games and big championship games, Notre Dame gets beat up. And I think they're going to play very, very well. But I'm going to take Alabama to win that game. But I don't think it's going to be any 9.5 points.
19.
I mean, 19.5, 9.5. 19.5 points.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They're going to win. Alabama's going to win by 20 points.
That's what they're saying.
I don't know. You think Florida and Notre Dame played? Who would win that game, you think? Florida? And
No.
how much did Florida lose by? 7 points. It was close.
Yeah.
In the end, for me, I'm gonna take Alabama, and I'm gonna give the 19.5. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna make that bet. I'm gonna have that bet singly, and I'm gonna have it in a parlay.
I'll
go
go
with Notre Dame.
Yeah, with the points.
Okay. And I think it's a great bet. I just don't see anybody beating Alabama this year. They are prolific. The only question mark is their defense. But their offense scores so fast, people don't understand. You have to play a lot of defense when your offense scores so fast. And teams have to try to keep up. So, yes, teams are going to score against your defense when you're scoring in 2 or 3 plays every time down the field. I mean, Alabama is prolific offensively. Where do you stop them? Where do you stop them?
Smith, he receives a third of their offense.
Yeah, there's only one way to stop them, pressure on Jones. But the problem is their offensive line is so good, you're not going to get pressure on Jones. You got to blitz a lot. You got to blitz a lot and hope you can get some fumbles and interceptions. Turnovers is the only way you're going to even be in a game with Alabama, any of these teams. Anyways,
But the
big controversy game.
The game I really want to see is Ohio State with Clemson. Clemson all day.
I agree with you. Ohio State's got a very, very, very good running game with Trey Sermons. Fields is capable, but how good is Fields' wrist? He hurt his wrist in that game against Northwestern. He was hurting. He can't pass the football. And they had some top receivers out, by the way. They were playing some guys that weren't used to playing. Their top receiver was out, Ohio State. But I just think Clemson is going to roll just like they did against Notre Dame. I don't think Ohio State necessarily could beat Notre Dame, by the way. So I believe that Clemson will roll, and 7 points to me is fair, and I think they're going to win. So, and then a couple other games. I mean, you have so much football on Friday. Oh my goodness, all those games. 4 games on New Year's Day. Enjoy them. Get over the hangover and the food hangover. Couple more games to wrap it up. Not so meaningful, but we'll look at this one for Saturday. Those of you who want to watch football on Saturday. Oregon versus Iowa State. Iowa State favored by 4.5.
I actually like Oregon on this one.
So do I.
I just think right now they're actually playing better ball.
They're an improving team.
Yes.
And they got a good coach.
Yes.
I really like their coach at Oregon, and I know your brother-in-law is a big
Ducks fan.
So brother-in-law, Jack brother-in-law, I don't know your name, but he talks to your big Oregon fan.
Gabe.
Gabe?
Yeah.
Gabe, this is for you, brother. We're both taking Oregon. Load up on your bet. Good luck. I hear you make millions, so go ahead and bet, one of those millions on the game, and, then you have a couple million. So going into the new year, that'd be good. So good luck, Gabe. That's a shout-out for you, brother. Jack talks highly of you all the time. Last one.
Texas.
Go ahead.
Texas A&M, North Carolina. I like
Yeah.
Texas A&M on this one.
I'm with you. They got something to prove. North Carolina's a good football team, but their running back opted out because he decided to enter the NFL draft, and he's going to opt out of this game, and that's a big loss because he was the ACC Player of the Year. So North Carolina is going to be without a real strong weapon. I'll go with Texas A&M. They want to prove they belonged in the Final Four, and they did.
And I think they might come out and actually run up the score, just to show.
Listen.
Just to rub it in their face, like, hey, we belong.
Jimbo Fisher, he's got an ache in his side about not being in the Final Four, believe me. And
but he wasn't wrong.
He's going to come. He's a great coach, by the way. He was great at Florida State. That guy's a great coach. And look, he went to Texas A&M and turned that program around and started to falter. Sumlin ruined that program, and then he went to Arizona and lost his job. So that was a bad coach at Texas A&M. He really ruined that program. Fisher came in and turned it back to a very relevant program. So I like Texas and A&M. Good luck to them. Anyways, that's some great bowl opportunities for you. Going into the weekend in the NFL. Make some money on these bowl games. There's really some easy money there in some of these games. We gave them out. Enjoy them. We have our opinions. They're pretty close. Just in finishing, NBA has started. We played a week. Nothing really relevant there. The Lakers are 2-2. The Clippers lost by 50 points to Dallas. Brooklyn, the great Brooklyn, is 2-2. All kinds of guys around the league aren't playing.
The Knicks finally got a win.
The Knicks got a win. The most surprising 2 teams to me right now. Phoenix is playing great ball. That's a nice team. Chris Paul, what a great leader. And also Atlanta, 3-0. So anyways, enjoy NBA. I like betting on NBA games. It's fun. There's so many of them. But again, any more to add to this show? It's the end of the year, man.
No, just
Give us something going out.
No, thank you for a good year.
My pleasure.
Our producer extraordinaire, John Stiles. Thank you guys, and thank our families for giving us the opportunity to do this every week.
Yes, absolutely. Very well put. Thank you all very, very much for following this sports show throughout the year. We got a lot of fun things ahead in the new year. We're really looking forward to it. A lot to talk about with NFL and so forth. But we want to thank, again, as Jack said, thank our families, thank each other. Thank you very much. Our show is produced by Mr. John Stiles, who is the most awesome producer that I'll ever meet here at WWDBTV. Kudos to you, Mr. John Stiles. You're awesome. You're the man. Without you, we got nothing. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for liking us. We plan on going just higher and higher with the show, better and better every week. We thank you for following, continuing to like us, subscribing to WWTV. God bless you. Happy New Year. May 2021 just be an incredible year for you, and may you get a great start with all of your gambling needs. We all have them. God bless. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.